Hey everybody, welcome to this Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. We are a show that is about multiple paths to recovery, mental health, all that good stuff. I love it when I say we, because I always think we.
It is a ride. It is a ride.
Right. Anyway, man, be sure to like, follow, all that good stuff. We're on all major platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, blah, blah, blah. YouTube, actually, YouTube is the one. Anyway, other than that, my good friend, Bear Claw, dude, how have you been, my friend? It's been too long. Like, it's probably been like at least a solid 5 years since we talked.
I probably had, personal face-to-face interaction. Yeah, it's been a few years. It has been a few years. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, so, I always see posts that you do, like, I know you had a birthday, right?
I just celebrated my 50th birthday. So
yay, dude, you made it, dude.
Yeah, I made it to the 50 club.
and you still look cool rocking the sleeveless Susie Sue shirt, dude.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's represents, my age, so.
Right.
And taste in good music, of course.
Age appropriate, yes. And flexing your good taste.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, dude, I've kind of known this about you, like that you've been in long time recovery way before I even thought about it.
For a lot of people.
But, right. Well, yeah. You were one of the first, but why don't, because I mean, you are the first full-blood Native American I've had on the show, so I'm going to give a round of applause for that.
I'm honored.
Because everybody is like, well, I'm part Cherokee, or I'm part this, I'm part that, but you're straight up. What tribe?
I am from the Kiowa and Cheyenne Arapaho nations of Western Oklahoma. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's what.
And then you were talking about where you were adopted. Or how did that?
Yes, I was during the 70s. Mm-hmm. If you go back in history, there's what they call the AIM movement, the American Indian movement and stuff. A lot of government issues with tribes and reservations and rights and stuff. And subsequently, there were a lot of Native American children put up for adoption.
Well, because I mean, I remember there was a whole movement back in the 70s for Native American rights, which I'm glad that actually happened. You know, the whole Billy Jack era.
Billy Jack, yes.
Billy Jack.
The white Indian. Yes.
I'm going to take this foot. I'm going to take this foot, and I'm going to put it on that side of your head. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Greatness. But yeah, so yeah, that was like you were actually a part of that. I mean, unknowingly, because you were like a small child. But
yes. Yeah. I'd come, and that's where it took actually years of research of actually, I got to an age where I wanted to research my history, of course, because I was actually adopted into a white family in Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
And, that's where, fortunately, they specifically wanted a Native American child because they had, they have family lineage of, Cherokee Nation, and they were raised up. My father, my adopted parents were raised around the culture, and they appreciated it and they respected it, and they felt like they could do
they want to help you.
Help. Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why.
And not totally feel like they were culture friendly to the
exactly.
Native Americans.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
I was very, very fortunate to be raised, because unfortunately sometimes that does happen, especially when you get an indigenous child, adopted, the culture's gone and they have no adaptation of, who they are, but I was very, very fortunate and blessed that my adopted parents kind of. Actually, on summers, they would send me off to a medicine man that would help, teach me, my culture and my tribe and everything. So I
think that's cool, man. That you just didn't grow up white guy.
Exactly. Yeah. That what Indian, what they call an apple. So yeah, we had to
Right.
change
Oh, is that what it is?
red on the
Okay.
outside, white on
Is
the
it
inside.
there's a yeah, there's a term. That's like the, what is it? The coconut. My
The
friends that are
Yes, the
Latin,
coconut,
I
yeah,
am
bananas, the Asians, I
right,
mean,
right,
so
right,
yes,
right,
we had
right.
our own, we had our own friends.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Yeah, I never knew that about you. And I mean, with the name like Bear Claw, I mean, you I'm sure people ask you questions all the time.
Oh, I've always gotten it, and it was
Yeah.
in the strangest of things, like, I didn't realize that was my, birthright name until I actually, because 'cause I'm from Oklahoma, till I moved here in the early '90s, of age 18 years old when I moved here,
Oh,
and
okay.
I only went by my adopted name, and, so I actually didn't know, like I said, it took, and actually during the discovering of going, the process, since in the
Hmm.
'70s they had, did the whole AIM move and everything. Even to
Yeah.
get my birth certificate took literally an act of Congress, like a letter. It
Oh,
took
wow.
years, from legal services,
Well,
from
and then did you have to be like 18 before you could find out?
well, I mean, it's just the process because I had the freedom and the ways of doing it, and
Hmm.
so actually, like I said, I had attorneys here, free legal services, Native American here in
Okay.
East Texas helped me out with the help
Right.
of the Bureau of Affairs in Oklahoma. They actually helped me out, so they're the ones that
Okay.
actually did the legwork as far as like process of getting information and everything.
Right. So,
It was
question, have you
protection. It was mainly to protect, the children and the infants of the Native American children. So,
sure. Well, and then question, so have you met your natural parents?
um, from the knowledge, my apparently my father was not around, so there's really
Okay.
no, history of him. And then my birth mom, there were reasons why we were put up for adoptions because she was
Hmm.
an active alcoholic and drug abuser,
Oh,
and so I
hey,
think
it runs in the family. Yeah,
runs in the family,
the genealogy.
and so, but what's to this day, it was like I felt like something inside her told her, "Hey, for the
Right.
future, the best interest of this child, that I be put up for adoption."
Sure. And did you have any brothers or sisters?
I did. Fortunately, I had a brother, a blood brother that actually they kept us together. And
Mm.
when I adopted parents, they said, "Hey, we want to adopt an Indian child." There's like, well, we got two. So
Right. It's a
it
two,
was like 2 or nothing.
it's
Yeah,
a
2 for
two
1
for one,
special.
dude.
It was a
You
2
got
for
it
1,
right.
yeah. So
Right. I
I
like it.
did have a brother that was just a little bit younger than me that they fortunately they kept us together, so
Oh, okay. That's cool. And so he's your full brother
he's
or
my he's my full blood.
full blood brother? Cool. That's cool. Good to know. So, okay, so then how do you get to Dallas, Texas from Oklahoma? And then I think we met probably, I'm going to say probably mid 90ish, somewhere around there, mid to late 90ish, in the club scene somehow. Cause I think I remember maybe, weren't you like security or?
Yeah, I've been security since, well, actually, I only started security once I got sober, and
Oh, okay.
it was funny because that's the only way to, I guess, not get kicked out of clubs. Is to
Right.
not run the
Yeah.
door. So,
Right.
actually,
Right.
we
Right.
get
Right.
sober and to work the doors to not get kicked out of clubs.
Sure.
We get kicked
There
out
you
of every
go,
club
dude.
in Dallas and bar.
Well,
So,
so yeah, so let's go through that. Like walk us through the how it happened. Like, I mean, where did it when did you start and then where did it go wrong?
well, for me, I mean, I remember the first instance of drinking alcohol. You feel that burning sensation, and it was awful. It was
Yeah.
nothing. It was like, oh, why am I doing this? But it seemed like it was cool. The older people were doing it, and I
Mm-hmm.
was at a buddy of mine's house, and his parents had a stash of booze in the garage. Like, hey, do you want to try some? I was like, I'll try it. And then all of a sudden, but I remember after the feeling I got from it, where it was just
Mm.
like that numbing sensation, and we were just having fun. We were on bikes and motorcycles, and it was just like this gates just opened up inside of me, where it just felt like literally like the first time in my life where I felt comfortable.
Right.
You grow up, me being a Native American in a white family in a town that was I was the only Native American literally in the town too. So it was like
Right. Okay.
identity crisis growing up, of not who and
Well,
all.
it was you and your brother, right? And
Me
it
and my
was,
brother, yes. And so I
yeah,
took
you and your brother
film,
against the
I took
world, and
film, yeah.
probably, yeah.
And so the first time literally, and it was like at the age of 14 where I was just like, I felt just that numbing, like there was nothing, like it was like euphoria, it was just like,
Right.
this is what I've been
Right.
missing, not
Right.
knowing
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
hey, it was alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
and then from the beginning, became a morning drinker, I'd sneak
Well, so like
drinks.
what age were you?
I was 14 when I started drinking, then 15
Okay.
where literally I became a morning drinker. I was drinking
Oh,
tequila
wow.
and orange juice almost every morning just to go to school.
Wow. So you graduated quickly.
Very quickly. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just once I took that first sip and feeling that buzz sensation, that's all I wanted to feel. That's
Right.
all I wanted to just I remember just detachment and, like I said, that feeling of comfortableness, and I felt
Well, so
warm.
were you able to like make it through like high school and navigate kind of uh somewhat successfully?
No. When you
Okay.
start becoming a daily drinker in high school at age 15, there's a
That's
lot
what
of
I'm saying.
consequences. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
I
was
was
thinking.
losing jobs already. I wouldn't show up for work, because I was working
Oh,
at
okay.
I was just sacker at the local grocery store. I couldn't even do
Mm.
that.
I did. Yeah, I was a
Yeah.
package clerk
I
myself.
was I was at the local IGA in Oklahoma. I was
Right.
a sacker, and I couldn't even perform that. I ended up having to quit that because I wasn't performing or showing up for work. Then I worked at a Hardee's convenience store, a
Hmm.
restaurant, and then couldn't show up for work from there, all because I was partying or I'd rather go party. And I was like, I don't have
Right.
a job. And then it was just like the consequences were so fast and family wise, because I come, you know, prior to that, my parents had divorced, broken home. My dad was a firefighter. So there was I had no supervision. I had all this luxury
Ah,
and freedom. And I
right.
used
I was
it.
going to say, what were your parents saying this whole time while you were doing that? And like, and then how does a 14, 15-year-old kid score alcohol on the regular?
Dude, like I said, I was go to a friend's house that I had in the
Okay.
garage, and then once I get
Oh.
16, I got my license in a vehicle. When I work at the IGA, I started stealing booze. I mean,
Oh, there we go.
for my habit, yeah, I started stealing at the age of 16 to support my habit already.
Well, yeah, I
In
mean, of
cases of
course, dude. You
beer,
gotta.
when I was closing up, stash it at the trash bin, after I
Oh,
closed
hell
month
yeah.
the store. I mean, I was already a criminal, back then, before
Right.
my habit at
Sure.
16, 17 years old.
Well, and
And
I remember back in those days, well, you could also have the fake ID. So when I got we had the fake ID
I
and
have friends that had it, yeah.
the fish market down on Greenville Avenue, dude. Oh, you go back, and then you get the special brown bag. It was a thing, dude. But yeah, so that's crazy. So then you're you're doing that, and then at what point, like, how long did you navigate that until you realized, hey, something's got to give?
Well, I had my first really instance. I got wasted during homecoming and blacked out. And see, I was even at the age there, I was a blackout drinker. I just didn't know where to stop. I just kept going
Okay.
and going, blacked out. Next thing I knew, I was in the police station, um, being
And how
questioned.
old were you? How old were you when that happened?
When that first happened, I
First
was
happened. Oh, like it.
17. Yeah, first time being 15. Yeah.
Right.
I think I was 17. Yes. I had ended up, you know, at the homecoming gang, belligerent. Cops picked me up.
Hmm.
But, like, all through high school, though, my dad, he was the local, it was weird. My dad was like the pillar of the community of our small town.
Sure. Well, I
He
mean,
became the
firefighter, and
firefighter
yeah,
and fire
yeah,
chief, fire marshal, city manager. He became just literally everybody loved my dad. And
of
then
course.
the cops would show up where I was at. And they actually, you live in a country town, they'd break up a party, they would follow me home, make sure I got home. Like I was wasted, and they would just make sure I got home. It's like, oh, this is Lance's boy. So
Right.
I got
Yeah.
privileged, I got treated differently than most
Sure.
kids.
You got the pass because your
I
dad
get the
was,
pass, yeah, and
yeah,
I always
right.
took advantage of it. And so it was always, I really didn't suffer really consequences that most probably would already. And I
Mhm.
remember I had a wreck. I had my first blackout wreck, my
Oh,
truck
wow.
came off the bridge, and
How old were you then? Like,
I
was
was
that all
17. Yeah, I was
yeah?
17 in that, and cops showed up. They, called my dad. They picked me up, took me, no consequences whatsoever. Just
Well, at
really
least she
tough.
didn't, like I mean, at
Yeah.
least she didn't did you hurt yourself?
I remember my head hit the windshield, but it was
Okay.
more severe, issues and everything. But
Mhm. But you at least nobody else was involved,
nobody
right?
was developed. Yeah, nobody was hurt. But you think, that's times like no. Then I kept going again, and then I remember, like I said, then I got picked up by the police at a public, football game. And
Mhm.
then my dad picked me up. He was like, and I remember that was the first time that I'd felt, I guess, shame, where I was like, okay, I mean, I was in trouble. I got caught.
Right.
All
This
these
is
red
not
there.
good.
This
This
is
is
not good.
not going
It's
well.
not going well. And I
Right.
remember for the first time where I was like, because I've always had issues, like I said, being an adopted child. Um, you've always had like this thing in the back of your head of, why we were adopted, those adopted issues.
Yeah.
Child. And I always had it,
Abandonment
abandonment
issues.
issues, yes,
Right.
abandonment
I
issues.
gotcha.
And
Okay.
so it's like, so there's always things back in the head that have are always there, and I had a hard time processing and dealing with them. But like I said, when I drank, they went away. And I
Right. Well,
remember,
and it wasn't like they could hide the adoption.
no,
You
no, yeah,
know, because it's like, "Hey, dude, you're just magically a little more brown than everybody
yeah,
else."
yeah.
Right.
But I remember when I got picked up, my dad picked me up, and I was thinking, and I was like I was done. It was in the sense of like I didn't want to live. It was like my first
Oh, okay.
where I was like, I'd rather die than face the consequences. That's what I
Wow,
still,
it was that bad, huh?
it was, yeah, it
Alright.
was for me. It was that bad,
Mhm.
And I remember that was my first attempt of committing suicide at a young age.
Oh, wow.
And then
Okay, I didn't even realize that.
yeah, that was an attempt, on myself,
Okay.
self-inflicted, and then,
Right.
of
So,
course,
I mean, what was the reasoning as a kid? What was going through your head? Because, this is good information to pass forward, to somebody like a parent now, you know?
yeah, I mean, it was, I was, I mean, normally, I think in normal circumstances, of course, now, I mean, it's so different then. I mean, there's so much social media and everything, and there's everybody can
Mhm.
be tuned, and you find where your kids are at the drop of a hat,
Oh, yeah,
And then,
yeah.
but it was just like there was just so much isolation, you could just it's a lot easier to get lost in a sense. And I think
Sure.
it is
Yeah, and get in your own head and get
yeah,
depressed and
exactly.
let a future trip, like,
Yeah,
trip about your narrative and, like, what you've done and yeah, wow. So,
and
like, I mean, were you thinking, like, because that's a pretty permanent decision, and you're at such a young age, and I know that happens, all the time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but so what was going through your head? Like, I mean, what was it like? Or did you just feel like a total failure, or
I
what
felt
was it?
like it's like, um,
You
because I was being, like I said, the son of, here's this I had to look up to, like the statue of my
right.
father,
Uh,
I felt like I didn't measure up, he had so much expectations of me. I was considered, even at a young age, a prodigy child, I was in these special classes, not like with everybody else. And so,
right.
I was always in these advanced classes, but, as I got older, it's like, I felt like a nerd, and it's like, I don't want to be a nerd. And I've actually done myself down just so I could be in classes with my people I want to be
Right,
around,
with your friends,
with my
right.
friends. And so when that happened, I just remember, like I said, complete failure. Like I'm never going to measure up to what my
Ah.
father wants me to be, because he
Sure.
had
Well,
really,
and I mean,
like,
he's already, mayor of the town practically,
yeah,
and you've got that to live up to too
yeah,
as
it
well.
was tough. It was tough, and he, like I said, he had a strong hand, and, and it was just like, I was like, there's no way that I can. And because, like I said, all that the abandonment issues, it was like
Yeah.
a little child that, that apparently your mom didn't want you. And then now I'm feeling like Now my adopted dad's not going to want me, and the
Right.
world's not
Yeah.
going to want me. The school, I mean, just like everything. How am I going to face the
What good
people
am
at
I? Yeah.
class? You know, like
The
it was a puzzle.
self-worth, yeah, just
Yeah,
goes way
and it
down.
just
Yeah.
took over. Like I said, the shame and guilt. My only at that time to cope was just like I just end it all. Why not just end it now? You know, so
Wow.
I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. I mean, that's
Well, I'm
you
glad you
know,
didn't.
yeah. I'm glad I was able to come out of that suicide attempt. Number one.
Yeah. Well, I guess there's multiple, huh?
Yeah, man. I just the mental sickness that comes with, addiction is just so strong.
Mhm.
On the years of going through, trying to cope with life and everything else is just
And
is just
that was
that
before they had therapy.
yes. Yeah, basically. Well,
Right?
and that was, normal circumstances. Like I said, my father, he was also like, hey, I'm Lance, I'm, the Pills community. We can't be having this, and he did,
Mhm.
he was stronger. We need to figure this out on our own. And so he started trying to send me to behavior place,
Yeah,
place
yeah, they had, like,
meetings.
behavioral I remember that was kind
Exactly.
of the beginning
Yeah.
of whatever they would call, like, psychotherapy,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
It was at
know?
this little,
Right,
and everybody knew it was weird because everybody knew where this place was in the small town. It was like a little
right.
log cabin
Oh,
community,
yeah, dude, and if you go
you
there,
know.
you got
Oh,
problems.
you did,
A
because you're on the school
problem
bus
kid.
route. If you get
Yeah.
picked up there, and it was like that place
Oh,
is
no.
crazy.
So now everybody knows,
Everybody
like,
knew when
you
I was sent there, it was like at
right,
that point, but it's like they knew, but they weren't surprised already because I was
right.
known as
Well,
like the town. I It's like a badge of honor when you're the high school, like the party animal. It's like a badge
yeah,
of honor. It's like
yeah,
part of my identity. And so,
right.
but now it's like it's fallen apart. My life is, and so
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a break real quick. We'll go
okay.
to commercial. We'll come right back.
Are you an old fool who's so cool like us? Funky Gold is a network of skilled and hardworking DFW DJs over 40. We gather to create a mutually supportive environment for all members who are doing big things. Our DJs are leaders in the community who bring special skills and opportunities to share. We strive for professionalism in the music business, and we have hearts of gold. Not to mention we have the coolest swag and the funkiest headquarters. If you're interested in learning more about joining the crew, connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, or Gmail at Funky Gold Network.
All right. And that is our sponsor. We love the Funky Gold Network. Check them out on Instagram. Good people doing good stuff. And then we also have some new music out, and here that is. All right, and that is the new track called Brand New Whip, doing quite well. Number 34 on Beatport today. So hopefully that climbs by the time this airs. And then be sure you can follow me on Spotify under Kelly Reverb. I also have a playlist on Spotify called This Is Kelly Reverb that has all the tracks in one neat spot. And then while you're there, of course, follow the podcast. Anyway, dude, so back to Bear Claw, and you were like, I mean, suicidal multiple times. So it had gotten really, really bad. And then what prompted like how bad did it get? And then what prompted the move to Dallas?
Well, it was just became like a vicious cycle at such a young age, which unfortunately happens with especially Native American children on like reservations and land, where the alcohol is prevalent, and just
Mm-hmm.
but fortunately, like I said, even though I wasn't raised on native land around reservation or anything,
Right.
once the alcohol got in my system, it is like that part of that stigma took over,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and it was just I was already, I dropped out of school,
Okay.
and, I was bounced around because my dad was like, if you live under my house, live under my rules. And I was like,
Yeah.
peace. I'd rather party, and I started bouncing around
Right.
with friends, and
Okay.
I wasn't going
What
nowhere.
what age did you peace out?
17, when I was
17. Okay.
17, dropped out of high school and,
Right.
started bouncing around friends' house. And, and then I just remembered like,
What city in Oklahoma is
oh
this
yeah,
happening in?
I was raised in this town called Guthrie, Oklahoma, which is
Okay.
probably known as, it's very historic. It was like the first state capital of Oklahoma. A lot of history in Guthrie. It actually is probably
Did not know. So where is like Guthrie from
it's
Oklahoma
30
City?
miles north of Oklahoma City on 35.
Okay.
It's
All right.
exactly 30 miles. And
Gotcha.
it's right now, it's also known as one of the hot spots of paranormal activity. Tons of, there's like, I grew up around it, and I remember hearing,
Okay.
but now
Well, was it, I mean, I guess Oklahoma all was, I was going to say, was that Native American land? I'm like,
yeah,
well,
right.
kind of all was, Kelly.
Yes, it kind of was.
Right.
There's Indian ghosts everywhere. But
Wow. Okay.
but it was from a small town, and it was just like I was drowning, and it was like I need to do something, because at that point, even at a young age, I'm like, this is no life. I need to do something. And I remember then from the first time, I asked my dad for help. First of all,
Okay.
why I need help, and then we found a rehab down in, it was like a rehab ranch at that time it was for teens in
Okay.
Southwest Oklahoma. It was a lodging place, and that was my first experience with well, I mean, I've been a few rehabs before. I ran away from rehab that was forced to go to by my dad. Wasn't ready, working out, so I ran away. But this was my first time really wanting.
Well, and I think that's an important thing that you just pointed out. And I always say this to my listeners and anybody that asks me is, you can't make that person want it.
Yeah.
They have to, you have to want it for yourself. You won't have to be tired of it, because if you think you still got a few miles left, let's go, dude. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I knew that I had to change something. Something had to change, and I couldn't do it on myself, on my own. And no matter what I tried, so I asked help, and I was put in a situation where I first experienced with recovery and AA, and more importantly, like fellowship, because that's for the first time I'm surrounded by people that were like almost like the same boat I was, that had health issues, family issues, all that. They had identity crisis, just like it was like I felt comfortable,
Right.
by my life. I was like, wow, this actually I feel comfortable, and
like like people get you and understand what you're going through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was also around, it was like the native Southwest Oklahoma, there's an area native lands over there too. And so there was some more Native American kids and counselors that were Native American.
So then, yeah,
and they were helping, like I said, expose me to.
You were hanging out in Whiteyville before that.
Whiteyville.
Right. Gotcha.
So,
right.
And that's where, I started to get familiar. Like I said, I was getting in touch with myself, and by the time facilities were always for adolescents. Once I turned 18, there's like, okay, you got to go. What are you going to do? And then I remember I had literally $100 in my pocket. And then and I found out, because of the Native American, associated with this rehab, there's this place in Grand Prairie at that time called the American Indian Center. It was like a halfway house. It was stipulations where you got to be in recovery, go to meetings, and you have to work. Well, how's your bed? And it's free. You don't have to, pay anything. And so they had a bed opening, and I literally bought a bus ticket. I had literally got a trash bag full of my clothes, $100 I had in my pocket, got a bus ticket, went there, came here to Texas. And so that was my
GP,
old Grand Prairie, man.
Love it, dude. Love it. Well, and that's crazy because I still hear you using the term Indian. And because it was back then, right? It was when did Indian become Native American?
Man, we still call it us natives. It's natives, Indians. It's yeah. There really is no.
Well, no, but I mean, like, when did that become a faux pas or like politically incorrect? I'm trying to think.
maybe the
Because
Bush.
I remember it's like, oh no, they're not Indians. They're not Indians. Which is true because Columbus was a dumbass and he thought he landed on India, and that's why that's where the term came from.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah, yes. Oh, I know the whole history. Yes, it was.
Right.
History books are written by white people. Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, I just call. I mean, it's just. I've always been called, Indians, natives.
Right.
Just
so
whatever.
You're okay with the term,
okay, yes,
the terminology. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the whole sports team thing?
It does. It doesn't affect me. Yeah, I mean, it's.
Right.
I think that's for a way for other people to try to want to be heard and try to
Sure.
And it's not. I mean, even if you talk to us, status, it really didn't affect us at all.
Right.
Or did we feel like it was?
Well, because like the Redskins, I mean, it's somewhat derogatory. I mean, but it would be like if we had a football team called the Rednecks, or I would like to have the Crackers.
Yeah. But the irony, the one thing I'm probably most offended by is the Native Spirit cigarettes. That's probably the one thing.
Oh, okay.
That's not one.
Tell us why. Let's hear it. Because it's funny. Because it's owned by Philip Morris.
Yeah, Philip Morris, exactly.
Who owns everything.
Tobacco land and profiting off the Native American name for.
So it's just an image thing. Because I'm like, oh, this is good for me.
Yeah. Even though I don't smoke.
This is natural.
Smoking, so.
Right.
Actually, yeah. When Native Spirits came out, that's like, I'm done smoking. I'm done. That's
right.
It.
Okay. Hey, man, we all have our things, that's funny because I never really thought about it, but they do lean into that imaging really hard. Like it's it's plant medicine, kind of vibe, It's funny. I never thought about that, but okay. So yeah, Grand Prairie. And then, so what year was that when
I moved here in 93? I moved here in 1993, September. Actually, this what's crazy is this week, because I turned 18 and then limboing for a few days. And then that's when I got my bus ticket here. And because I actually, when I met a friend in Oklahoma, he actually moved here a few months before. And he said hey, this Indian Center's place got a bed and actually have a job for you if you want a job.
Okay.
And all those things, I had nothing else going on. I didn't want to go back to my hometown, face all those people, going through what going through in high school.
And so that was 1993, and
1993. Yes.
Yeah.
I moved here, and like I said, I had a bus ticket, had a job lined up and a place to stay. Cause like I said, there was nothing going on for me in my hometown. Cause I wanted a fresh start. I was 18 years old.
Sure.
Entering adulthood, I wanted a fresh start, and I was sober. I accumulated 6 months of sobriety, and I was feeling like I'm the world. I was young,
feeling like you're champing, dude. Yeah, right.
And so I got to this the Grand Prairie, and I started working for this company. And actually, what's crazy is this week I'm celebrating when I'm here, 93, 33 years at the same job. I'm still employed.
Oh, wow, dude. That's huge, dude.
That's crazy, yeah.
Do you want to shout them out?
Riverside Irrigation. They've been with me since day one. Anybody that's been through all this mess, and believe me, I'm blessed to be with a company like that because they believed in me.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's some longevity for
sure.
Yeah,
as much torture I put them through, I'm very surprised they still have.
Right. Well, okay, but you didn't get clean until what, 2002 is your?
Well, when I moved here,
there's some back and forth then.
Yeah, there was some years. I've accumulated 3.5 years before claiming it, plenty of 1 month, 2 months. I've been through the steps multiple times.
Well, so yeah, and that's cool because, it's not always just somebody get. I say this all the time, but it's not like you just get clean. That's it, and then it's like rainbows and unicorns. It's not always the straight line. So so you got clean initially, and then how long did you end up staying sober for?
Once I moved here, I I probably didn't last long is because once I'm a country boy. So when I moved to the big
Right.
city, there's just so much going on and you
Right.
see things. And I was at awe when I moved here. It was a culture shock.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was just like,
There was actually shit to do.
it should
You're
be
right.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And so it was just like, and I remember when I left that, it was time for me to leave the American Indian Center. I was at my job, got my first apartment. And I was like, you know what? Maybe what's one beer going to, I could, still maintain my job,
Sure. I can handle this
I
now.
can handle
Now
it.
I know.
Handle it.
Yeah.
Yes. What's this new? But what I found out was one, the beer alcohol content, like the level, it's like different in Oklahoma and Texas.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
it's like, it's watered down
You got
compared
the
to Oklahoma.
you've got the 3.0
Yes.
in Oklahoma, and it's
6 something
6%
here.
here.
It
Yeah.
was wild to me because I remember literally like having that first beer when I was like, I could have one. It was like 3 beers in
Right.
Oklahoma. It was just the blew
Yeah.
me away.
Right.
And I was just like,
It's so funny that I think that's still a thing,
it is. Yeah.
but weed's cool.
Yes,
Weed's
Wait,
completely legal.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I wish I liked
Yeah.
weed. I really, really did. But I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
It was not like
Yeah.
my thing. It was like people kept telling me, like, why didn't you just smoke weed to calm down? I was like, dude, I wish I liked it. I wish
Right. Yeah.
I did.
I was never a weed dude either, just
Yeah.
because I would just automatically go down paranoid street.
Dude, I
That's
had
my
no
first
control,
thing. Yeah.
and I would
Yeah.
continue to laugh, and then I'm like at Jack in the Box ordering 20 tacos. So
Yeah.
it
And the
wasn't good.
cops are watching me, dude.
Yeah,
Everybody knows I'm high.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, but that's crazy, man. Well, and I mean, I'm kind of an advocate of just legalize everything and regulate everything, and then we don't have stuff like fentanyl.
yeah.
I mean, because honestly, if it's there, and they regulate it, and what you're getting, then they can allocate that those funds that they're using to lock up people, prosecute people, and all this, the drug trade ends. If it's legal, and I mean, of course there's still going to be street stuff, but that's going to go way down. And I don't think you see like fentanyl happening. And then if you take that money and allocate it towards education, and treatment, then I mean, the other ways, obviously not working still. The
Yeah.
war on drugs, not working.
It's not, sadly, it's not.
Yeah. But so okay, so let's talk about the ups and downs. We got about, about another 20 minutes. But let's talk about the ups and downs, and then let's get to, what finally worked for you, and then we can talk about how you maintain your sobriety. We can talk a little more solution. So
Yeah. Like I said, once I moved here, I ended up relapsing and being exposed to actual drugs. Because in Oklahoma, you just had dirt weed,
Sure.
and then beer and liquor, So once I've went back to drinking and relapsing, trying to handle it, the next thing I know, I'm exposed to different elements. Things are like, hey, this drinking. I was like, oh man, I'm wasted. Like, here, do this. This will help you. This will allow you to get home, or you could drink more. I'm like,
well,
what is this?
I mean, for me, yeah. So it was it cocaine?
It was cocaine. It was cocaine, and it was just like,
yeah. I was gonna say because that's what I call it, drinker's companion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was.
Because it's like I drink and then I do cocaine so I can drink more, so I can do more cocaine. It's just like like a vicious cycle.
Going, and that's became. But it depends on like where I was at in Grand Prairie at that time. There wasn't as many as cocaine distributing places. You had a lot of these new kids never know what crystal is, crank. I was discovering what I found out was I was more into uppers than I was downers. Anything that allowed me to drink more. I say I'm just here. Some dude had this, methamphetamine. I'm
you're
like,
preaching to the choir, brother.
Yeah. It was just like that was my, like I never did any type of drug sober. It was weird. I always had to have the alcohol, and then that was my segue.
Then that was the yeah.
Gotcha. And then, but actually, what sped up the process? Because then at that point, I was battling alcohol because I was exposed to recovery, and so part of that was still there. It's like the shame and guilt just intensified over time. It was just demoralizing. And it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing in this? And then I got to do more drugs so I don't think about it, because this is making me happy again, and then next thing I knew, for the first time in my life, what turned me into a spiral, like darkness pit of hell, was my experience with crack cocaine. It became, once I tried it, that's what really set everything off. That's what pulled me down.
That's where it got really bad.
That's when it really, really bad.
The shadow people showed up.
Oh yeah.
The shadow people showed up, and you would take apart your VCR.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. Well, once I pawned it, I sold it. I've had a plug. It was pawned or given to the local, crack dealer.
Sure.
But I remember, this is what my experience, they talk about in recovery, that moment of clarity.
Okay.
I've been sober before, in and out. I'd go and get a chip, at 30 days, 24 hours, tons of those. But I remember I was and I tell this story to people that are, everybody knows that, a lot of people know that I've been sober in recovery, and they ask me, and people that maybe, are interested, been, having deals. It's like, what was that point? What was that turning point?
Right.
And for me, it was on October. It was the middle of October, and I went on like a 3-day crack binge.
Okay.
And funny, like right where like the Arlington Stadium is right now, a Cowboys play. Like there were some old dilapidated apartments.
Okay.
And I remember in houses, and I remember I was in a 3-day crack bin, and I'm there with just one guy. We're in a room, and of course, I never did drugs alone. I had to have somebody there because it's a problem. So companion. It was companion. I was into companionship no matter what I did.
Sure. Yeah. Of course,
I said I want to be alone, and so I remember I was doing crack, and I was buying it all. And on that third day, that gentleman, man, he looked me right in the eyes, and he said, "What are you doing here?"
Right.
He said, I was like, "What do you mean? What am I doing here? We're smoking, we're about to re-out." I was like, and he looked at me, and was like, "You don't belong here." And he said, "You're done." And he said,
"Wow,
it's time for you to go home."
Your drug dealer kicked you out?
Well, the dude I was just smoking with, for 3 days.
Oh, okay. He wasn't. He wasn't.
And
where
he was
you were
benefiting from me. But here I am, like, I was all of a sudden, like, there was this. If I turned white, that was the moment where I turned white.
Right.
I just remember this sensation of just like everything came down, where it was like I looked around, and like I said, the dark, everything was lit up. And it was like, for the first time in my life, it felt like, okay, yes, you're done.
Right.
And I remember I drove home, and then the very next day, came up, I went back to a meeting. That was October 14th of 2002. And I haven't had another sip of alcohol or drugs since then.
Wow, dude. Well, that's impressive.
Dude, thank you. It took
Yeah. How many years? How many years is that now?
That's going on 23 years.
23. Congrats.
23 years
now.
Huge. Yes. And
wow. So good for you.
And so today it gives me chills. I always remember exactly looking in that guy's eyes, and he saved my life. And it wasn't something spoke through him to get to me.
Yeah.
That saved my life.
Yeah.
Wow. And I talked about, the suicide. There's been multiple times and attempts and thoughts, of like, there's no escaping this.
Well, and so like, did you because at some point in the 23 years, you probably have had like a thought of doing that. So like, was it primarily like AA and the 12 steps that kind of helped you quit? Or, I mean, was it just that aha moment, or was it a combo of both, or what
Well,
was it?
it was a different, I mean, it was definitely, I knew for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I've tried on my own many times. I've tried different avenues of recovery,
Mm-hmm.
that they have out there. I mean, I tried it all. I tried
Mm-hmm.
you put, there's AA, CAD, like everything in front of A. I tried it. I tried
Right.
it,
Yeah.
because I felt like I had a problem with everything,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason, I felt like in order for me to survive one more day, it was going back to an AA meeting. And
Okay.
I knew people, my old home group, and
Mm-hmm.
so it started there because I need to build my foundation of my new life, of who I was and who I wanted to become. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that's where it had to start, where I had to build it. And I knew I went.
Right.
So I did. I got me that sponsor. I went through the whole steps again,
Mm-hmm.
going through everything. And
Okay.
that's what I needed for me. And that's where I knew where I had to go, because there's no other
Right.
place that I.
Well, and that's what I like. So, like some people just quit, right? And
Yeah.
then other people do it through therapy. Other people do it through, cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, there's multiple pathways, to sobriety, because I know
Yeah.
tons of people that just quit,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
and I've just
good for
seen it,
them,
and I'm like, I was like, wow, and then they do it,
Yeah.
and
But the thing that I do love about the AA and the 12-step program, it's basically, it's everywhere.
yeah,
So AA is everywhere. I can go to any city in the world and find a meeting, and I love that about, like there's people that get you automatically built
yeah,
in. I love that about it. And then basically the 12 steps, it's not really that huge of a mystery. It's basically admitting that you have a problem,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Giving that problem
It's
to a
simple. It
higher
really is
power
a
or
simple
whatever
concept.
you want to say.
Yeah,
And then it's you. And then the other steps are you to designed to for you to deal with your shit, whatever's bothering you, causing you to want to escape, to use substance to escape. It's that. And then it's basically paying it forward.
yeah,
And, it's like there's no secret handshake. It's not a cult, even
yeah,
though it seems like it. You see the traditions and all this stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, that was just for anonymity back in the day when people didn't talk about it,
yeah,
and it would ruin people's careers,
yeah.
But so are you actively, I mean, do you
I
actively
am
go
not.
to meetings, or?
Every now and then I'll go to, because I
Okay.
still connected with a lot of people that when I came
Right.
back in, sobriety, that were there, that supported me and helped me get through what I went through,
Sure.
getting sober again, and they're still sober. I mean, I get so many, like, it's crazy. Like my core of my sobriety from the people who were there are still sober 20 plus
Mm-hmm.
years. And, actively, there's a point where it was like, I felt where it was like, in order for me to, cause I'm like a student of just knowledge. Like I love learning new things when it comes,
Mm-hmm.
especially my spiritual aspect, my spiritual growth. I study all different, try to learn as much as I can, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
from religion to spirituality, concepts, it's like, I'm going to try to learn as much as I can that's going to help and benefit me. And I know if
Mm-hmm.
I get through it and what saves me or helps me, maybe I could, like I said, pass that on to somebody else that is seeking, you know, solution or comfort.
Right.
Why this is
Well,
what.
and I love that you put that out there, like that that you're a sober guy, because then I'm guarantee you, like tons of people probably reach out to you and want to know how you did it
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff, and you can pay it forward that way.
yeah, and like I said, and I've gone to like a lot of newcomer meetings. I know which ones to go to, where you at, what
Mm-hmm.
city, where dude, let's go. I've had
Mm-hmm.
people reach out to me, it's like, hey, I think I need a meeting. It's like, let's go, dude. I'll pick you up.
Right.
We'll go. And I'll still go to newcomer meetings, from time to time, especially with people that, if they want to go, I'm like, hey, this is where I went. This was worked for me. Give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Works for you if it doesn't. But I'm always here for any other avenue that, of some type of support,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always here for anybody. Like I said, and what I've discovered in a lot of the aspects of being in recovery, it's not just, like I said, drugs and alcohol, as you aware of, but the mental health of the aspect of everything. I've learned,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's what I'm discovering even though I've had a drink of alcohol, over 20 years, there's areas of my life I'm still having to learn, still growing. And that comes down to the stem of my spiritual growth is
Well, right. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of, like mental health is a huge thing, and mental health is an ongoing thing. It's just like physical health.
Yeah.
It's just like you can't just lay on the couch and expect to be, copacetic,
Yeah.
you know?
And and you try to find, like, last year was probably one of my toughest years of my sobriety, where
Mm-hmm.
it was just like I didn't want to drink or drug or anything, but it's like I was at a place where I wasn't me, and
Mm-hmm.
felt once again back where I was, like, my like identity crisis, like, who have I become? That
Right.
shame and guilt again,
Sure.
and I had to seek. And what I went, for the first of my life, I went through therapy. I went
Mm.
to a therapist for about a good year to kind of
And
navigate.
I think that's good, man. And I think it's a lot more acceptable than it was back in the
Oh,
day, because
yeah,
I honestly think everybody could use therapy, to be
I
honest.
think so
I
too. It
mean,
really, really just a
either
little
that or
bit.
just good homies to talk to that can give you
Yeah,
some good advice,
and yeah, and that's what's been great is knowing that as I continue to grow and as long as I stay
Mhm.
sober, I'm still meeting new people and even old people. And that's what's
Mhm.
amazing thing is that, as you've experienced in our scene in the Dallas, club scene, people that do
Mhm.
get sober, and
Mhm.
staying sober. And
Right.
it's an amazing thing, man. It's like, because I've seen, we've seen them go through what we went through, and they're starting to see
Sure.
the light. We see the light in their eyes,
Right.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
amazing thing. It really is. And I love, that's probably the biggest joy that I get of being sober. It's not because I'm
Right.
sober, but seeing everybody else
Right.
see that light, see that pink cloud,
Well, hey, there you
that's
go.
talked about,
Hey, show plug.
yeah, shipwreck,
Right.
but that's because it's out there. It really,
Right.
really is. And then when they
Yeah.
see that,
Well, and
mm,
I'm a huge fan, and that's what kind of why I named the show "This Pink Cloud," is because I think you can stay on that.
yeah,
I don't think you have to. I think you can just be sober and, like, euphoric. I mean, or whatever, whatever it is, whatever you want to do. It's not like oh, if you get sober, you're going to be happy, because that's not the case.
yeah,
Like, I mean, for me, what I realized is how big of a part of music was, and creating music, and I had missed that so much, and now it's like, oh, that's my purpose. You know, when you find, because you want to feel like you're doing something, and you want to feel like you belong, and you want to feel like you have a point. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yes,
And that's like what that's where I find my passion, is in creating music. So, that's kind of definitely helped me, in my journey. um and I mean, I can't say that I'm gonna, I don't know that I'm gonna have 23 years. I don't know, but it's right now it's working for me, and I just don't put any pressure on myself. You know what I mean?
exactly. And
Yeah.
it's part of that simple aspect of it. I had a friend that's currently like, man, I just want to not drink for 21 days. And I was like, tell
Okay.
you what, 20,
Right.
you see that 21 days, right? It's like, how
Right.
about you just focus on the end of today? Doesn't that
Right.
seem that
Yeah.
more feasible, more obtainable, and less
Sure.
stress? And they're like, I was like, you're right. I just got to focus on today. And tell you what, tomorrow,
Yeah.
just like about,
Yeah. When you
another
start
day.
future tripping, you know what
Exactly.
I
The
mean? Yeah.
future. Yes, exactly. It's like, just
Yeah.
simplify it. Just, you don't have to change everything about yourself. Just worry about today, and it just seems, life seems to work out. And that's what I firmly
Right.
believe is,
Right.
my experiences, as long as I continue to do what I'm doing, growing
Sure.
spiritually and helping others, that things seem to work out. And people
Yeah.
say, lucky. I'm like, no, I'm not lucky at all. I
Right.
just continue to do work that allows, like I said, things open up gifts. So, like, sober
Right.
gifts is
Well,
what.
and like I have like goals, but it's like, like as we get a little older and hopefully wiser, I just noticed that I quit trying to control the narrative specifically like I used to, and
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. But then, also I'm just going to accept, what happens and just be okay. I mean, shitty things still happen when you get sober,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It
It still does.
it's not like it, like I said, rainbows and unicorns, but yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming on. And if anybody wants to like reach out and get in touch with you, like probably just give them what's the best social media way to get
Social media, I'm still on Facebook. It's just,
Okay.
it's funny. It's like, it's just Bear Claw. And I remember I
Okay.
had somebody try to report me, like saying that's not my real name, like a few years back. And I had like an investigation by Facebook to determine.
Oh no.
And so I'd pull up
Yeah.
this, like create this whole diatribe, my tribe, where I'm from and everything. And the
Yeah.
response was like, okay, you're Bear Claw. It's like,
Right.
I was able to keep just Bear Claw name, but I think it was
Right.
Colonel X.
Well, they had like, if they had a thing like that, because I remember one of my friends, I called him the professor, and and like he tried to do that, but you actually have to show your credentials to be doctor or professor.
I just showed them. Actually, it's funny. I just showed them a picture of me with my braids, and that's all they needed.
Right.
So that was
Yeah.
Like, do I need for this is it right here? And it's funny. They sent back, said, "Okay, we won't disturb her. This won't come up again." So
right, exactly. Because if not, you're gonna see a fucking team of lawyers, man.
So that's probably the best way to reach out, because I, just Bear Claw Facebook. I mean, that's, and
Right.
I'm always here to chat with people and just to figure out what's going on and just I'm just an open heart. I'm an open person because people were there for me. They did the exact same thing for me. So I feel it's my purpose and duty to do what was done with with me. So.
Right. Yeah. And you're an approachable guy, in my opinion, and a nice guy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, but congrats on the 23. I think that's amazing. And, here's to a 23 more.
Well, thank you. I got my energy drink right here. So
that's what mine is. Mine is actually Mio. I just see the Mio and water.
Sponsored by
I gotta, dude. I honestly have to watch out for my caffeine intake. Because I'll be like, my eye will be twitching, and I'm like, okay, well let's lay down. Let's walk away from the caffeine and just drink water, Kelly. But anyway, dude, thanks for coming on and being transparent and telling us the history, because I think it's fascinating.
I appreciate it, man. And I feel honored, for you asking me and to participate.
Well, you should. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, dude. But dude, love you, man. Reach out to that guy if you need help. Reach out to me if you need help, man. Then remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Yes.